I wouldn't say it's an easy profession. There's a lot of training involved, working out on weights. You travel many miles. We probably put in more miles a week than a truck driver, just to meet our obligations and the contracts that we've signed. It's a way of life. I'm a lord. My grandfather died, and I could go back now and just live off the proceeds and never ever wrestle again.
There's times I would be wrestling like 7 days a week or 5 days a week, and we travel quite real long distance. And well, for myself, the mileage that I figure out during the week after it's all over, well, comes up like to about 800 to 1,000 miles a week, either probably more than that.
My cousin and I, we have to train every day. We have to go down to the gym and work out. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to do what you do. But as you say, the miles. Now, just last year, we did 72,000 miles. Now,
and that's by car.
And that's by car. That's not by flying.
Not the areas we flew. Like we flew to Japan, we flew to England, we flew to Germany, we flew to Australia. These are just the miles in this particular country. By car.
And if you want to grow up to look like my cousin and myself with scars and like this, like you come out of a prehistoric movie, then
wrestling's not an easy sport.
No, it's not.
It's easy to be no good, but to be great is bloody hard.
That's right.
I like this wrestling because it's a challenge for me. And when you become a professional wrestler, all you do is just keep challenging guys that's all around. And that's the only thing in this wrestling business. Guys get to keep meeting guys in certain places, in certain areas. And the reason I like about it is because I'm a challenger and I love the challenge. And I always like to see the best man win.
When you become the best in your field, you want to. It becomes a challenge. It's a challenge that keeps us going. It's the fact that it's saying, we're not going to give in. We're going to prove this point, and after you prove one point, there's always another point to prove. It's like being wide earth. You got all these fast guns coming after you to try you. I just hate getting in the ring with a wrestler that I know I can beat. Because to me, it gives me no personal satisfaction, and it makes me more madder than not. And I will basically go out and hurt the man, because he shouldn't be there.
Evil Knievel draws a crowd because they expect an accident. And people follow, they're allured by the unexpected. And they are gory. We all have that streak of goriness. We all like to see a little bit of something that is, you think, you don't want to look, but you look, or you hope it doesn't happen, but you hope it does, and that's how the possibility that people come to see wrestling, to see someone get their arm broke, or get their head busted open, or to see skill.
Being honest with you, you can't ignore the fans completely, but when you get right down to the nitty-gritty as to who gets first money, who gets second money, the winner always gets more. I don't like getting second money. Never have throughout my career. And if there's someone sitting there smiling at me, I hope they enjoy themselves. I don't pay any attention to them when I'm cut or bleeding or enraged. I do lose my temper from time to time, but if they're sitting there smiling, I don't even pay any attention to them. If they want to be an idiot enough to have a good laugh over somebody's misfortune, like getting cut, i.e. busted open, or a finger broken or an arm busted, and they want to laugh about it, well, that's their little sick world. It's not mine.
After everything is all over, you're all worn out and you're going home, all blooded with your head busted open, and you're thinking to yourself, well, gee, I guess that's what the people came to see. So they could see one of the guys get hurt, but that's not the way we look at it when we go inside there. We expect to go walk inside that ring circle and walk out the same way we walked in.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If anybody can give me a blood vessel, I'd pay any amount of money for it, because I've never seen one. Anytime I get busted open, it's my own blood. And that's a very touchy subject to wrestling anyway, because I've been wrestling 11 years now, and never have I got anything for nothing. Every time I go in the ring, I gotta work. I gotta wrestle for the money that I get, and I get paid pretty good.
And then with the thing that we can always just tell the people is that if you think that we're just a bunch of phonies, is why don't you just come into the ring and then we show you how phony we are, you know? And so that's how we turn around. We tell with people, and what can we do with people that doesn't even know anything that what we do in our job? What they don't know what we do, they'll never know about it. And until they get inside the ring and find out for themselves.
You see the glamour part of it. They don't see the hard work that goes into it. And if people would take the time to ask and find out, then I think the adverse publicity we do get wouldn't be quite as forthcoming.
They talk about wrestlers, some people talk about them being phony or something, but they are not. They're all good athletes. A lot of them came right out of the colleges. So like Dale Lewis, you know, two-time on the Olympic team and NCAA champion, and he loves it. But sometimes you could compare him to the Globetrotters. No one can say that the Globetrotters can't play basketball, but they take every opportunity to make the people laugh, or wrestlers delight in making them mad. You know? But, they're in it for the money, and if they don't draw crowds and entertain people, we don't care how tough they are. We want wrestlers around that'll draw people in at the gate.
I want money, and that's why I do it. If I'm going to get hurt or busted up, it's going to be for money.
I just want to pay you something back, brother, for something you have did to me quite some time back.
Your word of honor is you don't hit the ball. Your word of honor.
I just come up here, and I just want to pay back what happened to me quite some time ago, and I'm not up here to cause any trouble, Frank.
Well, what do you owe me? What do you owe me? What do you owe
Frank,
me?
I just want you to witness something.
When television was in its infancy, the thing that really got it going super big was Milton Berle and the Texaco Hour, years and years ago. Ed Sullivan, the Gillette Cavalcade of Sports, and professional wrestling, which was syndicated nationwide then. Over the years, football made us smart, basketball made us smart, baseball made us smart, rollerblading made us smart, wrist wrestling, tobogganing, water skiing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the thing that really got it started has been pushed down the drain. A lot of people say, well, it ruins the credibility of the station. It's a funny thing. Last year, if it's ruined the credibility of the stations throughout the United States of America, and the FCC is down on it now because they say it's too violent. Oh, my goodness. What were 39 million people doing, paying good, hard money to go to an arena and watch a professional wrestling match take place? Now, this isn't just stuff I'm pulling out of the air. Time, Newsweek, and Business Magazine document this. It's fact and figure. 39 million people paid to watch a wrestling match last year. So if we're too violent, I wonder what baseball, football, basketball, hockey, hit them over the head with the sticks, kick them in the groin, and all that other stuff is if we're too violent.
Wrestling is the largest professional spectator sport that there is. We outdraw professional football, professional baseball, professional basketball, and all of them. We got to bear in mind that wrestling is in every town, every city, every little nook and cranny there is, and they wrestle every night of the week. Some of your larger arenas in San Francisco, in Seattle, Vancouver, Houston, St. Louis, New York, draw capacity crowds. $150,000 houses are nothing at all out of the ordinary.
Between wrestling and soccer, in the world today, wrestling has to be either tied for first or a very, very close second because it's worldwide. And it's not seasonal.
Royal Albert Hall, when they have a tournament there, then the Queen comes and Prince Philip and all the royal family, they have a nice little royal box there and they go and watch the wrestling.
Wrestling comes to royalty, Prince Philip in England, and Tsar of Persia. And so, the rest of the convicts. You wrestle for the right arms.
We have doctors that go down there. I just got a letter from a man, Spellman, running for governor in Washington. These people go to the matches. Also, people on welfare.
I can remember seeing Jim Londas and Ted Thye and people like that wrestle back in 1927, 28, and I was pretty young then, but they were good wrestlers, but they were wrestling pros, about the same as they are now, except that the public has demanded more action, and they've injected more action into it all the time. They don't want anybody trying to beat somebody with a toe hold for 15 minutes. They want them to get out of that toe hold and get up and get some action to them.
A man must develop ring color in order to be successful. And a ring color has a lot of different definitions. To me, it's the ability to make people like me or dislike me. I have that ability. It's very easy to make them dislike me, but it's an ability a man must have to be successful in this business.
I think because people have blonde hair or long hair, fancy jackets, that's only wrapping up the package, actually. It's nothing to do with the wrestling. It's just you'll sell a commodity much easier and much better if it's wrapped nicely. And I think this is one of the reasons why wrestling gets adverse publicity.
Just take the English team, let's say Johnny Eagles and Jeffrey Forbes. I mean, you say they're not people that get up and come on strong on television interviews or anything like that, but they're a capable team, and they got
very capable.
They got the ability to get out there and they know exactly what they're doing. They're tradesmen.
You can more or less think that it's showmanship, which it is, a show that we put on, that we do in the ring, but it's not in a way that the people think that it's a real, like a put on thing, but it's a thing that we go inside there and we wrestle each other, but we wrestle each other to win. It's not going there to try to hurt each other's body or break each other's bone, but it's a best man wins,
When you're out in the ring, you don't see the people. The people are there, you're aware of them, but you don't see them. And, you just kind of bother about who's out there, because you've got too much to worry about in the ring, so you're basically worried about your opponent.
It seems like whenever they want to harpoon something, they always pick on wrestling, but it's still drawing record crowds everywhere, and you see this blood, and like I've always said, if you've never tried it, don't knock it. And they don't get cauliflower ears answering telephone.
Everything that's successful is open to criticism. Critics are my greatest friends. I don't like to have anybody come up to me and say I'm a phony, because I'm not a phony. The wrestling that you see in a ring is actually wrestling. I use moves in the ring that I used when I was in high school yet. You don't see too many of them. But again, it goes right back to what I told you a while ago. People demand blood and thunder, and you don't see blood and thunder in amateur moves. You got to get out there and punch, kick, do anything you can. And there's an old saying, if the squeaking wheel gets the oil, and the guy that squeaks the loudest is the guy that's going to make that buck.
We're going to go out there and we're going to bloody hurt. And hurt. But when I say the word hurt, I don't mean slap the bloody fella. I mean stop him.
You're after an animal! Just like that animal!
It might come from off that top rope, like how the coconut falls from back home. We climb the coconut trees and we climb them very high. And when we reach that top, we put them all down, brother, and they all fly down. And when they hit the ground, you know what happened to them? The bugger crack, brother.
I'm going to tell you something, Snuka. One man done this to me right here in front of all my Indians. The hell with the white eyes. I don't care.
If you want good oats, you pay a good price. If you want oats that's already gone through the horse, then they come a little cheaper. Now, I hope you people understand that.
This is our profession. People can scoff at it, they can admire it, they can love it, they can hate it. This is what we do for a living. I protect my business and my living any way I possibly can. You could fire 1,000 bad questions at us. Well, is wrestling phony? No, it's not. Are the matches preordained? No, they are not. And you can do this with all the football fans in the world and say, yes, it is. But you try that with a wrestling fan, and you're going to have a fight in the middle of the street.
I think that most of the people that downgrade wrestling would be, say, the middle class people, that want to be somebody, that want to be a big shot and they can't make it, or want to be something like a baseball player, a good boxer, or even a good wrestler. I don't think that if you go to a wrestling match, you never see a guy that's not strong. You always see a guy that weighs 230, 240 pounds up. And there's a lot of people that still respect strength and ability to wrestle and to thinking. And because all the time you're wrestling, you got to be thinking at all times.
Like if a fella has a fight with his wife, right now, if he starts shouting at his wife, he's going to get a plate over the head or something like this. So he goes down to the arena and he lets all this out. By the time he gets back home, he's all hoarse from shouting and screaming. And he turns around to his wife and said, "Boy, you should have been at the wrestling tonight. Boy, I had a great time." Because
he's relieved his tension.
He's relieved his tensions.
The city of Portland collects 6 cents out of every dollar, a 6% fee out of every dollar that comes in through the door of a professional wrestling match or a professional boxing match. Now, these are the only true professional sports where they do collect this 6%.
There's never been any scandal that I know of about wrestling. We do so much good for a lot of different organizations. Now, just one example, the American Legion sponsors our matches in Salem, and they get a percentage plus part of the percentage that the city gets, and it supports all the American Legion baseball clubs, all their work and other projects they have. And I remember in Medford when they drew some money out of the Wrestling Commission fund to save a tournament down there that was going on the rocks. It was a baseball tournament, American Legion, I think. And we raise money for all kinds of projects. And we'd like to see all of this money that on the 6% that goes to the cities, we'd like to see it all go into youth activities. So we think that would be great. It's derived from sport. It should go back into sports. In Eugene, they take about $5,000 a year, I think, for their 6%. And Seattle is doing real well now. And Vancouver, BC, I saw some figures on them. I think they do $500,000 worth of business, a year.
People come up to me and, say that there's remark about wrestling. And yet, they have never done a thing for crippled children or blind children or for spastic children. They've never taken the time to go around and visit hospitals or visit an old people's home or give lectures on anything at all. But we have.
I figure that I have worked hard as a professional wrestler, and I've been very successful. The reason I'm successful is because of those people out there, and I still owe them a little bit of something. And when somebody comes to me and asks me if I can do something, especially for a kid, I love kids. I got 2 of my own. I would take $1 million for either one of them. And they're quite big now, but still, I love children, and I like to be around them. And so when I'm asked, I'll go. I don't hesitate. I figure I can take a couple hours out of my day anytime if it'll help make somebody else's day a little bit brighter.
A lot of people see me, and they see an animal. They see an Indian. A lot of people still think that my hair stinks like my ancestors, that I wear grease on my body and all that stuff. Well, that's good. I don't care what people think about it because I have it made. I had to fight for everything I got. If I was to be a guy without no feelings, I wouldn't have to talk to nobody because, like I said, I got it made. But in places I've had people come and talk to me, look, I have a crippled kid. I like to, to get him to come over. Can you come over? If he's sincere, yes, I would, because that kid needs me, But if it's some guy that gets a little smart with me, I'd rather punch him in the mouth than go out there and go help him. I've had a lot of matches for nothing. I go out there and I get busted up. It doesn't make any difference because I've helped somebody.
I've got to make this statement. I think that it's being said by millions of people that charity starts at home, but if the occasion arises, we will donate our time and ability, which we have done on many different occasions. But then again, we've done it for a selfish reason, not only to raise money for this particular charity or that particular charity. They just happen to put 2 excellent wrestlers against us. And to us, we donating our time to them give us a chance to prove the fact that we can beat those two wrestlers. And in many countries we've been to, we've wrestled for nothing, not even to raise money for a charity, just to prove that point.
I'm a married man, and my wife's English. I have a daughter, a 10-year-old girl, Nicola. My wife's called Barbara, and they enjoy traveling the world with me. I love being with my family. When I get home from wrestling, I have to go with them and just become the guy next door. Watch TV, and like anybody else, just a normal guy that likes his home life and loves his family. And my daughter goes horse riding, I ride with her, and swimming. I go out with my dog, have a great day. I used to breed pit bulls, fighting pit bulls at home. I like to, collect playing cards. And I like to gamble for nickel and dime gambling, with my father Jeffrey, nickel and dime, Nothing, I'm not a gambler at all. I work too hard for my money to pass it over to somebody else.
I won a Mr. Hawaii in 1970, and then we got it again in 71, and plus got all these Mr. YMCA, Mr. Honolulu, and Mr. Waikiki. But actually, I was really on my way up to California, and I was gonna represent Honolulu for the Mr. Universe contest. And I guess I kind of figured to myself that I said, you can't eat a trophy if I happen to win it. But I know I would be representing Hawaii if I did win the contest. But so I guess I made my choice by either I go to the Mr. Universe contest, or either I take the choice of getting into wrestling, the professional wrestling business.
I paint and I draw, and we play chess a lot, and we do a lot of things like cars and stuff like that, and going to like these tricked up band shows and hot rod shows. And mainly we drink a lot of beer. We like drinking beer, and we'll drink it all night long, and play records, or it just all depends.
Like I've got, my time's more taken up than my cousin's. I've got a 9-year-old boy, and it takes quite a bit of time out of me because he comes on with projects and takes me to school. And like at school, wanted me to go down one day and give a lecture to the school about how to keep fit and physical education and so forth, and on wrestling and what have you.
It kind of takes your mind off the professional wrestling at times when you keep your mind busy on, especially like right now, I'm trying to get this home kind of fixed up a little bit, and it just more or less, you can say it's more or less a hobby for me because it keeps myself busy.
You don't have time for hobbies. Yeah, say football season, I like to get a football game if I can, catch a football game. Baseball, I like to go see baseball. Sometimes it's a lot more fun to sit down and watch somebody else participate in the sport. To me, it's something that something new to me. When I go, I feel a privilege. Go somewhere and watch another person perform. Like I like music.
We're very good chess players, because chess is like being in the ring.
It's a battle.
It's a battle. You have to think 3 or 4 moves ahead.
Really, wrestling basically, especially professional wrestling, it is like playing the game of chess, because it's not a matter of just going out there like two brawling fighters. You go out there and you try to tax one another's strength first by tiring one another out in certain different maneuvers and holds and takedowns and locks and stuff like that. And then you try to think 2 moves ahead of him all the time. There is many times in wrestling that you will purposely let the man get a hold because you know that the counter to it is going to be more vicious or lead closer to a pinfall than something else. And then when you eventually get your hand raised, then you've checkmated the man.
A lot of the guys, you have to realize, aren't the docile, punch-struck idiots that you people might have pictured them to be 20 years ago. The business has changed. With the National Wrestling Association now, you have to have 2 years of college, amateur experience, be able to document it before a promoter look at you. Then maybe you won't get in. Chris Taylor just signed for $280,000 back in Minneapolis for the Gagne Carbo Syndicate. But what I'm trying to get across to the people in television, not the people that watch it, Don't look down your nose at us, because we could probably take your ratings up. And if you give us a chance, we did it 25 years ago. We're still here. You're still looking for programs. And I think we're a heck of a lot better than a movie that you've watched 60 or 70 or 80 times. We can probably give you a better rating.